Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really cracking the code on something many people dread, maybe even fear, the cold call.
Yeah, it's got such a bad rap, doesn't it? But when you look at it through the lens of, well, science, it's fascinating.
Exactly. Forget the old scripts, the numbers game,
Mm.
Our sources are telling us that a successful cold call, it's basically a fight against human biology.
That's the core idea, really. You have to get your head around that. The call itself, it's an unscheduled invasion, right? Of someone's time, their focus.
An invasion. That sounds dramatic, but it rings true.
And biologically, our deep-seated mechanisms, they treat this kind of sudden interruption, this unexpected voice, as a potential threat, like a foe appearing out of nowhere.
And the numbers behind this reaction, the neurology, it's kind of mind-blowing. There's this huge mismatch in processing speed that, well, it creates a massive hurdle for anyone picking up the phone.
Oh, absolutely. So the moment that phone rings, or, that voice comes on the line, the prospect's subconscious, the primal brain, it's instantly firing on all cylinders. We're talking processing something like 11 million pieces of information per second.
11 million per second.
Yeah, it's scanning like mad. Danger, safety, friend, foe. But here's the kicker.
Okay.
The conscious brain, the part that actually listens to your words, your logic, the value you're trying to explain, it's lagging by about 7 seconds.
7 seconds. That's huge.
It is. And worse, it can only handle maybe 40 pieces of information per second.
Okay, hang on. So you've got 7 seconds where the prospect's gut is screaming, danger,
Yeah.
based on 11 million bits of data. And you're trying to counter that with, 40 bits saying, hey, I'm friendly.
That's pretty much the neurological tightrope you're walking in that first moment, every single time.
Wow. Okay, so that reality must dictate everything that follows, the whole structure.
Precisely. And that's our mission for this deep dive, right? To unpack the 3 key parts of a cold call that's actually built for this reality, designed, specifically to get around that threat response and use this brain science to your advantage.
And the goal usually isn't the big sale on the spot.
Almost never. The objective, 9 times out of 10, is just to sell the next meeting, get that follow-up booked.
Got it. Okay, let's dive into that structure. Part 1, those absolutely critical first 7 seconds. Our sources call it the positive pattern interrupted permission. Sounds intense.
Well, it is, because so much hinges on it. The very first thing is tone, your voice.
Before words, even.
Yeah, because sound hits that subconscious faster than language meaning. So your tone has to be warm, kind of casual, non-threatening. It needs to trigger a friend signal fast.
So no robotic scripts, no overly hyped up energy.
Definitely not. That stuff instantly screams salesperson, reinforces the foe status, and the prospect's just thinking, how do I hang up?
Okay, so the sources lay out a tactic here, the 6 Ps, for these opening moments, like a checklist for navigating that brain lag.
Exactly. It's designed to make sure you cover all the psychological bases before their conscious brain can even fully process what's happening.
All right, let's break them down. P number 1.
Pattern interrupt. Simple idea. You have to break their expectation. They expect an annoying pitch. Don't give it to them.
How do you do that quickly?
Mostly about how you sound initially, like we said. And then immediately, P number 2, positive awareness. This is subtle, but that first second, it's actually an outbound marketing touch point, an awareness play.
So brand consistency matters even here.
Absolutely. Your tone, your brief intro, it sets an emotional stage that should align with your brand.
Okay, pattern interrupted. Positive awareness started.
Yeah.
Now, how do we give that slow, conscious brain time to catch up, that lag?
That brings us to P number 3, positive attention. It's slightly different from awareness.
Also.
Awareness is just them noticing you positively. Attention is about creating a small, friendly gap. Maybe a slight pause, slowing down just a fraction. You're giving their conscious brain those crucial extra milliseconds to engage and register. Okay, maybe not a threat.
Instead of just launching into the pitch, which most people do.
Right. They just steamroll past that vital moment. So you've calmed the primal brain, you've created a tiny space, now you provide info.
Okay, makes sense? Which leads to the next piece.
Yeah, the next 3 are about structure and, importantly, control. P number 4, prospector information. Just calmly state who you are again. Reinforce your identity to fully kill that faux signal.
Got it. Then P5.
Prospect information. Confirm their name and maybe title or company. Shows you did your homework, you're not just dialing randomly. Validates the call.
And the final P, number 6. The goal of this whole opening dance.
Prospect permission. This is key. You have to explicitly ask for permission to continue. It signals respect and, crucially, hands control back to them.
Giving back control.
Yeah.
That feels important.
It totally disarms them.
Yeah.
This is where you kick off what the sources call the NICE process, the structured qualification part. But you can't start that without asking first.
And there's a specific way to ask this, right? The permission-based opening, PBO.
Yeah, it's a really neat little script that encapsulates all 6 Ps. It sounds something like, "Hi, prospect name. This is your name from company. Look, in about 30 seconds, I can quickly explain why I called, and then, you can tell me if it makes sense to chat further. Is that okay?"
I like that. It's direct, sets a time limit 30 seconds, respects their time, and ends with a clear question asking for permission. Is that okay? Gives them the power.
Exactly. You've basically neutralized the threat response by giving them agency. It's probably the most sophisticated 7 seconds in sales.
Okay, so we've survived the first 7 seconds. We've got permission. That takes us to part 2. Purpose and proof. We have their attention, maybe for the next 30, 45 seconds. How do we keep it and make it meaningful?
Right, now we need to engage them emotionally again, but in a very specific way. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, but you actually need to bring up their likely pain points, framing them as threats, quantifiable threats to their business.
Wait, threats? We just spent 7 seconds calming the threat response. Now we're bringing threats back in.
Yeah, but strategically. See, tapping into those feelings of maybe frustration or worry around a business problem, fear, urgency, it actually heightens focus and boosts memory retention. It uses their sympathetic nervous system.
Okay. But how do you do that without just sounding like a downer or overly dramatic?
That's the pivot. You're not making them the threat or you the threat anymore. You're identifying a common enemy, a costly business problem like high shipping costs or delays. Suddenly, you and the prospect are kind of partnered in a story to fight this common threat.
Partnered in a story. I like that framing.
And you use those emotional words, frustrated, worried, struggling with, to describe the situation, the problem, not them personally. It builds a connection.
Okay, so emotion builds the partnership. But partnerships need trust, right? That can't just be emotion. This must be where proof comes in.
Absolutely. Emotion grabs attention, but logic builds trust. That emotional connection needs backing fast, with hard evidence for that slower, conscious brain. So, any benefits you mention have to be supported by proof points, quantifiable results.
And not just any proof. The sources emphasize social proof here, too.
Critically important. You need to mention other companies, ideally ones they might know or are similar to, who face the exact same threats you're describing, and how you helped them win. It shows you're not just talking theory, you've actually solved this before.
Can you give us an example? Like, how specific does this proof need to be?
Needs to be really concrete. Don't just say, "We save clients money." That's weak. Say something like, "Look, we actually helped client A and client B slash their shipping costs by 10% and cut delays by 35%. They hit a 99% on-time rate, which, is about 22% better than the industry standard."
Okay, yeah, that level of detail, percentages, comparisons that lands differently, it feels solid.
It adds undeniable weight. It reassures their logical brain that this emotional partnership you've just formed is actually based on something real.
Right. High emotion to connect, hard data to convince. That's the engine of part 2. Which brings us to the final stretch, part 3. Personalization and proceed to the next meeting.
Exactly. We interrupted them politely. We partnered against a threat with proof. Now we need to make it about them specifically.
And the tool for that is the personalization hook question.
That's the classic move. Something like, "So do any of those issues, the shipping costs or delays, sound familiar? Or maybe there's another challenge that's top of mind for you right now."
Asking them to share their specific situation.
Correct. And when they elaborate, a couple of things happen. First, it deepens engagement. Psychologically, sharing information triggers a sense of reciprocity. They've invested a bit now.
And second, you get valuable intel for later.
Bingo. That's gold for the next conversation. The actual detailed sales discussion, what the sources call the conversion phase. But
First, we have to lock in that next meeting.
And this is where timing becomes absolutely critical, dictated not just by calendars, but by, more brain science. Specifically, something called the Ebbinghaus curve, the forgetting curve.
The forgetting curve. Okay, tell us about that.
It's based on research about how quickly humans forget new information. And the stats are, frankly, terrifying if you're in sales or communication.
Uh-oh. How bad is it?
It shows we forget roughly 50% of new information within just 1 hour.
Half gone in an hour. Wow.
Gets worse. About 70% is gone in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And within a week, you're looking at 90% memory loss. Poof.
90% forgotten in a week. So if you schedule that follow-up meeting for, say, 8 days later.
You're essentially starting from scratch. All that work, building rapport, establishing the threat, showing proof, mostly gone. You've lost all momentum, all credibility you just fought so hard for. It's incredibly inefficient.
So speed beats forgetting. That follow-up needs to happen fast, within that week.
Absolutely.
Right.
Within that 7-day window is crucial to keep the connection warm and the information top of mind, which means your closing on the call needs to be tight and focused on locking that in.
Okay, what does that closing strategy look like?
It has to be really clear and definitive. First, state the specific value they'll get from the next meeting, what they'll learn or achieve. Second, state the exact time commitment needed. Be precise, like a 30-minute chat next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Third, ask for a clear verbal commitment right then. Does that work for you?
Value, time, commitment. Makes sense. And there was one more piece, something about homework.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. Suggesting they think about any other specific questions or pain points they want to cover, or maybe even invite a colleague who deals with that area. It subtly increases the perceived value of the meeting and gets them prepped.
Right, makes them more vested. Okay, almost done. Before hanging up, the source of stress, one last thing for pipeline fuel.
Yes, ask for referrals. Don't skip this.
Really? Even on a cold call?
Think about it. You've just built this little temporary partnership, right? Identified a common enemy. It makes perfect psychological sense to ask, hey, is there anyone else you know who might be wrestling with these same kinds of frustrations?
Ah, okay. When you put it like that.
Referrals completely bypass all this initial cold call friction and anxiety. They have like the highest conversion rates out there, often 50% or even more. It's probably the single highest leverage request you can make after a good call.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a ton here, from like milliseconds of brain processing to memory curves, dictating schedules. It's complex.
It is, but when you connect the dots, it really elevates the cold call from just, banging the phones to something much more strategic and, well, scientific. 3 big takeaways really stand out for me.
All right, let's hit those top 3 takeaways for everyone listening.
Okay, number 1, it's neuroscience first. You have to design the call, especially those first 7 seconds, around overcoming that subconscious threat response. Tone. The 6 P's structure, they're not just nice to haves, they're essential to create that friendly gap for the logical brain to catch up.
Got it. Neuroscience isn't optional. What's number 2?
Number 2, pain as partnership. You need to use pain points, framed as quantifiable threats, to get emotional focus. But immediately pivot to positioning yourself as the proven partner with social proof and data who can help them fight that threat. It's that blend. Emotion for connection, data for trust.
Emotion plus data equals partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the third takeaway?
Number 3, speed beats forgetting. Scheduling that next meeting isn't about convenience. It's pure science dictated by the Ebbinghaus curve. You lose up to 90% recall within a week. So that follow-up must be booked quickly, ideally within 7 days, or you're basically throwing away the progress you made.
Right. The clock is ticking the moment you hang up.
Okay.
Powerful takeaways. Before we wrap, you mentioned a final thought for people to chew on.
Yeah, just that the cold call, despite, all the baggage it carries, serves this really vital dual purpose that goes beyond just booking the next meeting.
What's that?
Because you're talking to a real person. In real time, the call itself becomes an incredibly efficient feedback loop. It's a data gathering tool.
How so?
Well, by asking simple questions, maybe about how they heard of solutions like yours, or testing how urgent their problem feels, you get instant market intelligence. It's one of the fastest, cheapest ways to figure out who among your prospects are truly in that top 10% that are actively looking, that are in market right now.
So it's not just selling, it's also rapid intel gathering to focus your efforts.
Exactly. It helps you find the hottest leads almost immediately.
That's a great perspective shift.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the surprisingly scientific world of the effective cold call.
Hope it helps people rethink their approach.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you can put this structure to work on your very next call.